Chapter 17. With Milam's introduction over, we filed into the dining hall. Food was on the way, and today's main dish was curry. Milam certainly enjoyed the meal. I figured she had pretty childish tastes in food, too, so I asked Shuna to put some extra fruit juice in her curry to make it sweeter. Judging by the way she tore through her helping, I guess I made the right choice. Wow, I haven't eaten anything this good in such a long time. Shuna smiled as she doled out a second serving. It was a darling little scene. One that was ruined by the bombshell Shion had for me. By the way, Sir Rimuru, I had been wondering what was that present you gave to Lady Milam outside of town. Geez, Shion, why'd you have to bring that up all of a sudden? No, you can't have any. That jar's mine. Milam immediately tucked her jar of honey drops out of view. Sheesh, she could have just tossed it into spatial storage, but no. Oh, don't worry, Lady Milam. Nobody's thinking about taking your things at all, Shuna said, smiling. Yeah, I'd hope not. Nobody was suicidal enough in town to try it. And the moment she realized her honey wasn't in danger, she grinned and resumed her meal so completely defenseless, one would begin to wonder how demon lordly she really was, if at all. Though Milam wasn't really the problem. The problem was that people now knew about my secret honey stash. Honey stash. You know, Shuna continued, I have been noticing a rather fragrant scent around here lately. I had thought it belonged to you, Lady Milam, but was that what Sir Rimuru gave you, perhaps? Crap, I did not like her leading the witness like that. This was bad. Soe had his head turned aside, pretending not to be involved, but Benimaru was already giving all of us a curious look. There were 7 of us seated at the table, Ren, Benimaru, Soe, Milam, Shuna, Shion, and me. Shuna and Ren wasn't there for my confrontation with Milam. Oh, that's honey. It's really sweet. You can use it as a substitute for sugar too. After hearing Ren, everyone looked at me intently. Guess no point hiding it anymore. Okay, well, this stuff is called honey. I got this as a substitute for sugar, but I can't make very much of it yet, so I can't give you all a supply. I directed them all to scoop some up with their fingers and give it a try. The looks on the 2 females' faces were of abject shock. Ren didn't give much of a reaction. Soe just raised a single eyebrow, but Benimaru was already looking at me expectantly, hoping for more. Milam, of course, scooped up a bit herself, not that I invited her to. You already have your own, you greedy brat. So as you see, the honey tastes extremely sweet, but it also has a medicinal effect. I said. You said this could be a substitute for sugar, Shuna asked Ren, clearly curious. Is sugar itself really this sweet? I could see Milam's and Shion's ears perk up at the question. You can use it in food, in drinks, all kinds of areas. We'll be able to craft a great deal more food than before, once we have it, I explained. I see. In that case, I will have us devote all our efforts to discovering this sugar, starting tomorrow. Shion, yes, Shuna, I promise you, I will stake my life on discovering this sweet plant for us all. Shion replied. Great, Ren said, I will also help you with that. Quote, yes, very good, Milam agreed. The 4 women gave one another firm nods. I wanted to ask why they'd stake their lives on this, and since when were they all best friends, too, but it was fine for now. I took a final lick or 2 of the remaining honey, already assured that real sugar would be ours sooner than ever now. With dinner wrapped up, I directed them all to the bath, my crowning achievement. The tub, made with the finest dwarven marble out there, was filled day and night to the brim with hot spring water, ready to be used at any time. Milam had joined us, meekly following along behind Shuna and Shion. Normally, I'd nonchalantly hop in the bath with them all in slime form, but that definitely didn't feel right today. She'd be happier alone with the other females, and besides, I would need to discuss things with the ogres whenever Milam wasn't around. So I moved on to our meeting hall and gave a rundown of the day's events to the people assembled there. My goodness, I hardly know what to say. I never expected a demon lord to visit here on her own volition, Rigard said, shaking his head. I could understand his position. I had never pictured this happening, myself. Well, I think it'll be all right, though, I said. She's promised not to start any fights in here, at least. Not without my permission. Perhaps, but shouldn't we be more worried about how the other demon lords will react? Ren spoke up. Hakuro and Benimaru nodded at this. How do you mean? I honestly asked. Well, from what I heard there are multiple demon lords out there. You and Milam-sama just declared each other allies out in the public square, and that basically means this town's under the protection of Milam the Demon Lord. And normally, I suppose, that would be incredibly desirable, but… Rimuru-sama, you are leader of the Great Forest of Jura Alliance and ruler of the Jura Tempest Federation, Hakuro interjected. I suppose the actions of today would seem, in the eyes of the other demon lords, to mean that the Forest of Jura has forged an alliance with Milam herself. Yes, Benimaru added. It means that Milam, who hardly has any subjects of her own, suddenly has a much larger force backing her up. It shakes the foundation of the current power balance among the demon lords. One wrong move, I fear, and the entire forest could become subject to a major war. Practically speaking, though, none of us could stop Lady Milam if we wanted to, could we? Rigard offered his opinion, and he was right. Even all of us at once would never have a chance. It left us with nothing but the most passive of approaches, waiting for her to grow bored and leave. If other demon lords oppose her, I honestly like our chances against them more than her. Milam the Demon Lord is a walking catastrophe. Soe nodded at his compatriot's honest feelings. By the way, Rigard asked, where is Milam-sama as of now? I replied, she is in the bath. I asked Shuna and Shion to take her with them. Thump, thump, thump. I heard the sounds of someone running towards us, then suddenly. Bang! The door slammed open, followed by Milam. She wasn't wearing any clothes, her upper and lower body part was covered by towels. Rimuru, she shouted, the bath you got here is amazing. You can even swim in there. Shuna and Shion came running after her. They too were wearing towels. Milam-sama, Shuna said, panicked, you still have to wash your hair. Quote, whoopsies, Milam replied, I just had to tell my BFF how moved I was. See ya Rimuru, Milam continued, let's get in together tomorrow. Quote, Milam said and ran back to the bath, while running towel covering her non-existing breasts nearly fell. Luckily Shion stopped it from falling as she ran after her. Hee, Shuna said with an embarrassed laugh, please excuse us. After that Shuna too ran after Milam and Shion. After they left, the meeting hall was engulfed in silence. Everyone looked at each other awkwardly. In conclusion, Ren said after a moment, I vote that we should leave the day-to-day handling of Milam-sama to her. BFF, Rimuru-sama. All in agreement? Yes, everyone nodded in agreement. Wah, damn it, Ren, but by the time I had the thought, I was too late. I was used to tossing the ball to someone else most of the time. This time, they did the same to me. I glared at Ren. Well, Ran said, just look how attached to you she is. Quote, there was a hint of smug self-satisfaction in her voice. She is definitely doing this to get back at me for playing hooky. Thus, caring for Milam was added to my list of responsibility. Milam was already looking drowsy by the time she left the bath. Apparently, she was beside herself with excitement. Few baths large enough to swim in existed in this world, so I couldn't blame her. I asked Shuna to lead Milam to a guest bedroom and put her to sleep. There weren't any Western-style beds here, just pseudo-tatami mats and futon mattresses on the floor. I worried that she'd have some complaints about that, but it wound up not being an issue. She immediately fell asleep, looking snug as a bug. We were busy as bees the next morning. First, waking up Milam at sunrise wasn't easy. Why does a demon lord have to wake up early? She grumbled. We managed to get her up and dressed. Her current outfit was just too exposed, so we prepared some other clothes for her the previous evening. Just a quick outfit built from whatever we had around, but she was pretty enough that she looked just fine wearing anything. This is hard to move in. Oh, well, it looks nice. Isn't that better for you? I made a decent attempt to mollify her, and her mood instantly improved. No complaints there. Now then, I started, let's go eat breakfast. As I was about to leave. Wait a minute, Ren said, now that the Milam-sama is dressed it's your turn now. What do you mean? I said, slime didn't need clothes. Quote, but your human form does, Ren countered, am I right Shuna, Milam-sama? Quote, yes, Shuna said, I prepared lots of clothes for you Rimuru-sama. She is right BFF, Milam said, it's your turn now. I gave up resistance, and accepted my fate. After clothing next up was breakfast. Something resembling bread, fruit jam, and milk chilled cow deer milk. I had been telling people about how good cow's milk was, and this was close enough. That, plus some hot vegetable soup. Most people in town just had bread and the remaining vegetable soup for breakfast, so the jam was more reserved for honored guests, so to speak. Wow, this is incredible, Milam gushed as she ate. Glad she liked it. I watched her go as I thought over a few things. I dared a quick glance at Milam. Would I be okay taking her into the cave? It was now filled with Vester's valuable laboratory tools and experiments, a sort of federal research facility. Suddenly, I had a good idea. Milam still had only a patchwork outfit on. If her stay here would be extending a while longer, we'd need to prepare several outfits for her. Which meant, hey, Milam, once you're done eating, you want to go get some clothes custom made for you. Why, isn't this good enough? You'll probably want more than one outfit. Besides, I think you'd look nice in something cuter anyway. What, you have cute clothes? Sure, you can pick out whatever you like. Perfect. Ah, I should have known, Rimuru. This town has everything. The moment I brought it up, she was already dancing around in her seat. Perfect, that oughta buy me some time. Going into that gauntlet of a dress shop, it was easy to spend half a day without realizing it. I had experienced it for myself many times, being stuffed into outfit after outfit like a dress-up doll. Oh, Lady Milam is choosing some clothes. I'd be happy to join her. Yeah, if you could, Shuna. I got an errand to run in the cave, so toss me a line with thought communication if something comes up. Certainly. Oh, you aren't coming, Rimuru. Ah, I already have some clothes, so I'll come back to see you once you're all set, Milam, so feel free to select whatever you like and have 'em tailor it to your size. You could even have some new clothes made for you. Ooh, got it, great, that went well. The moment she heard the magic phrase new clothes, her interest immediately launched her in that direction. It ought to keep her from starting a riot or genocide in my absence for a while. I headed for the sealed cave with Kaijin coming along. We are going to meet Vester, who is researching ways to make potions with the same effect as the potions I made. The potion I produced within myself was the result of a 99% extraction of hippocute herbs. Drink it, sprinkle it on someone, it worked great either way. Meanwhile, the dwarfs could manage only 98% purity at best, and that single percentage point made a world of difference in performance. What dwarven technology could make, meanwhile, was called a high potion. It was a first-class concoction, capable of healing even major injuries, but sometimes it couldn't fully restore certain wounds and it definitely couldn't regenerate lost body parts all the time. I conjectured this was because the potion wasn't quite pure enough to fully read all the bodily data it needed for that. It could handle most injuries but couldn't quite push itself up to perfection, that was the difference. The hippocute we were growing in here was of the same quality as natural-grown plants. The best out there, in other words. So any difference in quality from the potions that resulted were purely the result of production issues. You know, I'd think a high potion would be good enough, most of the time, Kaijin said as he scratched his head. He had a point. Already, down here in this cave, they had replicated the best that the dwarves could do in their homeland. Perhaps, Vester replied, but listen, Sir Kaijin, once a scientist realizes there is something yet better to achieve, he refuses to make any compromise until he reaches it. Once he knew what my potion could do, he wanted to achieve that for himself. I came here to assess the potion Vester made. Let me assess it, I said, running analyze and assess on the vial presented to me. Less than understood. This medicine is equivalent to a full potion. Greater than. Ooh, nice. Vester really made it. Good job, Vester, this is definitely full potion, all right. Ho, I've done it. Superb work, Sir Vester. I am grateful to have aided you. As Vester was almost overcome with emotion, Gabble and Kaijin gave him their blessing. I bet this could be a huge source of income for Tempest if we sold it, Kaijin. What do you think? I asked. He thought it over a bit, then shook his head. Ooh, that could be tough, boss. If anything, this stuff is too good. The purity level's so high that it's not something you can use on a whim, you know. This kind of quality, maybe some hero-class adventurer would bring it along now and then. Vester met his agreement. Quite true, I fear. I'm happy this resulted in the best quality you'll ever find, but in terms of selling it, I'm not quite sure the market is prepared for it. Instead, Vester suggested this. Perhaps we could negotiate with King Gazel to have them accept delivery of low potion from us for sale over there. I'd imagine he'd want us to take in those few medicine makers who work in the Dwarven Kingdom in exchange, but yeah, that might actually work, boss. If they leave the potion making and selling to us, they can just buy in whatever they need for their own purposes. That may account for a lot of the motive behind their technology share request, actually. Kaijin had a point, but that was fine by me. He and Vester began talking between themselves, figuring out how to best convince Gazel of the idea. One full potion could apparently be diluted down to 100 low potions. If this idea gained any steam, it could be a pretty lucrative source of income. But no great need to hurry. I didn't want to hurt any of the Dwarven Kingdom's vested interests. We'd have to work things out so we'd both benefit from the deal. So I decided to let the topic simmer for the time being and took my leave from the meeting. Dot 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 dot. Dot 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 dot. Dot 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 dot. After leaving the cave, since Milam probably is still picking her clothes, because of that I have free time, so I decided to walk around town. During the walk I encounter a group of people. A guy who has a wild and somewhat rugged appearance. He has short, spiky black hair and sharp, cat-like eyes. His eyebrows are thick, giving him a fierce look. He was wearing a sleeveless black tunic, with bandages wrapped around his arms. His outfit also includes loose-fitting pants and boots, typical of a warrior. He also has a black tail. Hai's appearance reminded me of a cat. Is he a cat person or something? Less than notice. The individual in question is the lycanthrope. Greater than. What's lycanthrope? Less than received. Lycanthrope are a race of demi-humans that can transform into their respective beasts at will and are generally ranked beyond average. Greater than. Hello, I approached them. What business do you have here in Tempest? Lycanthrope replied annoyed. What do you want, little girl? Scram, I'm not here to talk to you. Bring me the leader of this town. I don't like him calling me a little girl. From what angle I look like a little girl? Should I tell him I am the leader? Well, if I tell him he would probably think I am joking. I think I should let Rigard handle this. I called Rigard explaining him situation via thought communication. After a while Rigard came and asked them why they came. Unlike me, Rigard excluded that leader aura, which made them instantly believe that Rigard is the leader here. If it weren't for these clothes, I'm sure they wouldn't have called me a little girl. I am Phobio, Lycanthrope replied, the Black Leopard Fang. One of Lord Carillon's 3 lycanthropiers, and the strongest of all in the Beastmaster's Warrior Alliance. What a fine town this is, truly one worthy of falling under the rule of the Beastmaster himself, wouldn't you agree? Surely you jest, was all Rigard had managed before getting punched out without further comment. I immediately threw a recovery potion on Rigard. Hey, I said, confronting him. Don't go throwing punches at the residents of this town. Shut up, you little girl. Quote, before he could call me little girl again, I slammed my fist into his gut. He doubled over, then staggered back into the middle of the dusty road, coughing and trying to catch his breath as onlookers froze in place. He stood up, clutching his stomach, face red with fury. You little brat, you just signed your own autograph. Sure, where do I sign? I cut in, smirking. He blinked, confused for half a second, then let out a frustrated yell and charged at me, fist clenched. I sidestepped with ease. Before he could regain his balance, I spun and drove a clean elbow into his back, sending him stumbling forward with a grunt. He staggered up again, eyes burning, and thrust one hand into the air. Leopard Fang flaming palm, he bellowed. Mystical aura flared around his arm, fiery and wild, crackling with raw power. The ground trembled beneath him. I narrowed my eyes. I'm not idiot enough to wait for you to use your move. Before he could react, I stepped in and slammed my fist into his jaw. The aura shattered, his eyes rolled back, and he dropped like a stone. I brushed the dust off my clothes. Next time, skip the speech. Dot 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 dot. Dot 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 dot. Dot 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 dot. We were back in the old meeting hall. They had just finished taking Milam's measurements and were preparing something new for her when all this happened. Dot dot dot. Well, no point dwelling on the past. The future was more important. It was just Ren, Rigard, Benimaru, Xian, and me, along with Milam. Phobio had 3 of his own troops with him. We hadn't restrained him or anything. Carolyn, breaking our promise not to get in each other's way. Milam was stewing next to me. Phobio, meanwhile, averted his eyes, as if afraid of her. The proud subdemon lord was just a pale imitation next to a real one. But more importantly, I'd definitely need to ask her about that promise later. That sounded important. So what are you all here for? I mixed a little coercion in with my questions. The answers came surprisingly more readily than I thought. The pouting, sullen answers could be summed up as follows. The Demon Lord Carillon had ordered him to try to scout either the Orc Lord or the mystery magic born that fought him, whichever had survived. The magic born referred to us, apparently, which suggested that the Demon Lord backup Gelmid had hinted at wasn't Milam after all. The Tempest is surrounded by 3 Demon Lords including Milam, so I think multiple Demon Lords might be involved in that mess, but knowing Milam, she probably agreed just because it sounded fun. And apparently it seems after their plan failed they came up with something else, and they made some promise to each other, about not getting each other's way. I definitely have to ask her about this. A sigh nearly escaped me, but I held it in. Now that we had gotten everything out of Phobio, I asked him to take his leave. Phobio glared at me and barked out, "You will regret this," and took his crew out of the city. I told him to relay a message to Carillon, telling him to contact me at a later date if he wanted to negotiate with us, but I doubted he'd ever receive it. When I left that job to Phobio, I knew he'd only provide whatever info made him look good. It'd be better for him to tell the truth, given how his mission was a failure and all, but that was Phobio's business. I'd better get as much info as I can from Milam about this Carillon's personality and other traits, so I can be ready to deal with whatever he's got. And about other demon lords who might be involved. To be continued.